What's up? And welcome to the Billy Graham Jr. TV show. Man, I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm so glad that everybody's able to tune in. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We have an amazing woman that has graced the building. She's about to drop some knowledge on. And when I say drop some knowledge, she's going to give you pointers not just for your life, but how to help others. She hails from Philadelphia. She currently resides in Virginia. I'm not even going to hold her up anymore. I want her to have all her time. I have to give you the amazing Dr. Kim Grimes.
Everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, Billy. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. So, yes, let's get this party started. Let's do what we do. Let's serve, let's help, let's support, let's do what we were created to do, and let's just be ourselves, right?
Exactly. We all free over here. And before we jump in now, I want you to tell the people, let the people know who is Dr. Kim Grimes.
Absolutely. So, I'm a change agent. I help change the trajectory of teens and young adults' lives so that they can be who they were created to be. I teach emotional literacy. I help them to put words to their feelings and their thoughts. I help them to express themselves even more openly. I help them to walk in integrity so that they can be themselves unapologetically. I actually served 25 years in the United States Army. I'm married for 26 years, and I just love communicating. I love talking, which you will see. I love just being, right? Being me. And I love empowering and encouraging people so that they can be themselves. So that's about all I can give you about right now. I can give you more, but I don't want to take up the whole show about me.
What are you talking about? So I don't know if you know, but around here, this whole show, we are all family. And the whole purpose of this show is so that people can see other individuals, business owners, personalities that are living in their purpose. Because believe it or not, there are individuals that are trying to find their way through life. You know how we were raised growing up through school, go get a job, work 30 years, retire, maybe live 10 more years, and then die. And people are like fed up with that type of lifestyle because they know they have so much more to offer. So we bring people like amazing people like you on the show so that they can get to see not just how to live in their purpose, but how they got to start living in their purpose. So you're a change agent and you're all about helping others. And I want to also thank you for your service, 25 years. Amazing. We appreciate everything that you've done. But we want to know, how did Dr. Kim Grimes not just join the military, but go from the military to becoming the change agent that you are now?
Absolutely. So I want to start with this. At the age of 24, I found myself stuck, angry, bitter, just mad at the world. Because at the age of 24, I was a widow. And that's not common for most people. My husband was killed in the military. He was out doing land navigation, and a poacher, illegal hunter, shot him, mistaked him as a deer. And so that devastated me, literally devastated me. And so I found myself spiraling out of control because I was totally, totally lost. When you lose someone so close to you and so young, you lose your identity. And what I mean by that, I barely knew what my identity was. And so at that point, it totally went out the window. And so I was up in New York. I'm from Philadelphia, moved up New York to be with him, which he was in the military. After that, I came to Virginia, and I actually been here ever since. But from that point, I started, I was so mad at the world. I was so mad at God. I was so mad at everybody. Here's my point. If you breathe, I was mad at you. That's basically how I was. I was just mad at the world. And so just angry and did not know, like I knew why, but I could not like I did not have anyone in my life to say, hey, here's what you need to do, or try this. I was just angry. And so the what changed, to be honest, what changed was I was interested in this one individual who is currently my husband now, but believe it or not, I had no interest in him because at that time I was like, I done spiraled so out of control. You know how you didn't know you were crazy, and then when you look back, you're like, oh yeah, that was crazy. That was real crazy. And so when I met him, I had no intentions on marrying him or doing anything with him. Other than what I say, just being real with, he was a straight up booty call for me because that's where I was at that point. And so he saw me in a different light. He saw me in a totally different light where I smoked, I drank, I cussed, I partied, I did all of those things. And he held a mirror up to me, not in judgment, but just so that I can see myself because I couldn't see myself. And so when I cussed, he was like, he would say to me, "You're too beautiful to use that kind
Wow.
of language." And I like, whoa, wait. But being from Philadelphia, inner city Philadelphia, I'm straight from the hoods. I tell people I'm the second T in ghetto. And if you spell ghetto, you'll see how ghetto I am because there's two T. I'm not that first. There's two T's. I'm not that first T. I'm that second T. And depending on who I'm talking about, I know I'm a straight up hood rat, right? And so, and then it's all good. And so his upbringing totally different. And so for someone to say that to me, I was taken back. Like what? And so he, in his infinite, like his finite wisdom, not infinite because God got that infinite wisdom, and his finite wisdom, he spoke into me for the very first time. I've never experienced that before. And so, of course, I married him, right? Like I wasn't that crazy that I wouldn't marry. So I married him. And so from that point, I went back to school and I was still struggling to find myself and it wasn't like an overnight thing. And so one day, even being in the military, as I was an officer in the military and I would not acknowledge, I would tap into some of my gifts and talents and be like, oh, why are people paying attention to me? Like when I certain things, it's like everybody would stop and listen. And I'm like, what is that all about? So with that, I found myself beginning to dumb down, right? Because beginning to allow society to put me in a box. And I would
Yes.
be in that box, right? I would, and then with the military as well, I would be in that box at the position of attention, like, right? And waiting for somebody to tell me parade rest. And so with that, I realized that I start to outgrow that box but yet I was dumbing down. And so I began to really look at who I am. And it wasn't like me reading a book. I actually start studying and working with this transformational speaker by the name of Lisa Nichols. And I also started working with her partner, Susie Carter, and I hired them as a life coach. And it
Okay.
was me working with both of them. Lisa did a lot of emotional literacy training for youth and young adults. And when I start working with her, I start working with that organization called Motivating the Teen Spirit. And so I learned so much about emotional literacy. And then I had Susie Carter, who was my life coach at that moment, who was actually not only pouring into me, but helping me to uncover my greatness, helping me to really see my gifts and my talents. And for the first time, I recognized who I was, and not only like who I was, but
Yes.
who I was created to be. Like,
Yes.
why did God say yes to my parents to allow me to come to earth? And so that was that was the eye opener for me, my revelation in this is who you are. I've always, when I was younger, I'm always was told you're too loud and you talk too much. You're too loud or you're too talkative. And so that also put me, I allowed that to put me in a box. So when I was around people, I would try my best not to talk loud. So Like I didn't, really, I don't know how to do that. But I tried my best because my loudness offends people. So it was like, okay, so I can't be loud and you don't want me to talk as much. All right. And so
Exactly.
with that training, I really begun to do a lot of self-work. And the self-work really, really helped me to uncover my greatness. And when I start doing the work, like I said, I really start seeing everything that God had put in me, because I believe the word of God that says I was knitted in my mama's womb. But when he did that, he put everything in me that I needed to be who he created me to be. I just did
Yes.
not know that because it was covered up. It was covered up with life, right? Things happened, especially when I lost my husband at the age of 24. It covered up a lot of my gifts and my talents. And then things that people say to you, things that people do to you, it continuously cover up your greatness to the point where you don't know who you are. And
Yes.
because you don't know who you are, you look around and see who you can best imitate. And you're like, ooh, I'ma do that. I'ma be like her. I'm right. But when you realize that you can't imitate someone like them, you can't be them, all you could be is yourself. And so I realized
Exactly.
all I could be was me. That was one process. The other process was, how do I own who I am? Right. And so in uncovering my greatness, I learned how to fall madly, did I say madly? In love with
Madly.
me. Yes, in love with me. And so I learned how to own me, how to own everything about me. Love my idiosyncrasies, love my faults, my failures, and also all my gifts and my talents. I'm madly in love with it all. No, I'm not perfect, but I'm madly in love with it, right? And my husband, I love him. His name is Lionel. Uh, one of the things that Lionel does, and he helps me so much, I am good at getting words wrong or saying things wrong. And instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb, no, I'm like, yep, I said that wrong. Yep, I chopped that up. And my husband, he will help me. He'll like, no, you don't say it like this. This is how you say it. And I'm like, okay, babe, thanks. And then turn around and say it wrong again, right? After he done shared with me how to do it the right way. So I'm sharing all this to say that it was, it's a process. It was something that I just said, you know what? Enough's enough about when it comes to being what people want you to be. Like you'll be all over the place. You'll never be
Yes.
happy, right? So you have to get to the point where you identify what it is that you want to be and who you want to be, but it's in you already. It's just covered up.
Yes.
And so what I do is I work with, like I said, youth and young adults, and I help them to uncover their greatness. And I teach them how to do that, how to literally uncover your greatness so that you can find your true identity. And when you do that, you will fall madly. Madly. Did I say madly?
Madly. Madly. Madly.
Exactly. In love with who you are. So it's not about just one level of madly, not two. It's three levels of being madly in love with yourself. And then once you do that, you will then begin to own who you are, own your greatness, and walk in your greatness. And so with that, I am me unapologetically. So
Yes.
I teach people, I teach youth and young adults, I teach anyone who wants to know how to be you unapologetically. Because what I've learned is that I owe no one, absolutely positively, no one an apology for me being me. And so that's the process. That's how it all came about. I did not mention I do have my doctorate degree in strategic leadership. When I
Okay.
went into the military after serving 25 years, I said, "Oh, I know a little bit about leadership, so let me go into that." My undergrad is in computer science, and my master degree is in management. And I just share all that because some people want to know, well, how did you get to the doctorate, right? There are some other levels of education I had to do just to get to that level. But I do love leadership, and the best definition that I have and I borrowed it from I think it's Harvard Business Law School. They said leadership is about helping others, right? And helping others to do better and ensuring that they continue to do better in your absence.
Yes.
Helping other people to do better and to be better and ensuring that they continue to do that in your absence. So it's like, wow. So leadership is really big for me. And I love it. And the other big gift of mine is encouraging. Like I'm an exhorter, a encourager by an exhorter by nature. I love to empower people, to pour into people, to encourage people, to help them see how powerful they are, how
Yes.
not only amazing, but they matter, that they're important, and what they have to say is valuable. When a person realizes that what they have to say, not only they have a voice, but when someone is willing to listen to their voice, it changes their whole mindset.
Yes.
Because it's about them being able to share. But when you tell them, when you tell them that they're important, when you tell them that they matter, when you tell them that they're valuable, right? They light up and they're like, oh my gosh, you're talking about me? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I am so in love with not only what I do, but how I make an impact in young people's lives, in people's lives, so that they can be like each and every one of us were created to serve the world with our gifts and our talents. And we can't, if we don't uncover them, we don't know what they are. And so I like to say that until you begin to walk in your greatness and be who you were created to be, the people that are around you are not going to be served to the fullest. Like there are people waiting. They're waiting just for you because of what you have to give to the world. You and your unique self have so much to give to the world. And so they're waiting for you. And my request is stop making them wait for so long. Start walking and talking and learning how to uncover your greatness so that you can be like, learn your purpose. Like I'm crystal clear on why I was born. And I said that before. You can ask me, I can tell you, this is why God said yes for me to be here on God's green earth, because he knew that there would be so many people who are challenged with mental health, or challenged with depression, challenged with a lot of things, that they need someone that will just come by and just say, hey, you are amazing. Regardless of what anybody else says, that you are amazing and you have everything, and I mean everything that you need to be you. So stop looking outward and start looking inward, and so that you can begin to walk in your greatness. Look, Billy, I figure I'll pause right now just to let you in.
No, you. So you know how I work. It doesn't matter when you pause, but since we paused, I'm finna break down because you just gave us so many nuggets, and I have to break them down because I don't want anybody to miss them. Okay. First off, condolences on your first husband. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That is traumatic. I also want to thank him for his service, because what people don't realize, not just living your purpose, but the way you give your gift, the way you serve for others is a selfless act. So we thank him for his service as well, because he gave the ultimate sacrifice in protecting this country. And as we move on, not just your selfless act of how you're giving back to others, I want everybody to understand and break down, and we're going to break down and dissect everything you just said. Okay. Starting with, you're not the only one. You may be the T in ghetto, but I'm the O. And the reason I tell you all that is nobody on this earth is perfect. It's only one perfect person that ever walked this earth. That name was Emmanuel. Nobody is perfect. God is not done with us, Because best believe when the time that God is done with us, that's the time that he's going to call us home because we completed the mission he sent us here for. And when I say the mission he sent us here for, just think of it this way. In order for you to be born, it's 400 million to 1. I want you to think about that. 400 million to 1 for you to even be born. You have better chances of hitting the lottery 11 times just to try to be born again. So God put you here for a purpose, and he gave you gifts that he wants you to use to live in your purpose. Now, when you understand that, you're going to also understand that along the way, he's going to give you obstacles. Think about it this way, like when you're in school, you learn a lesson. At the end of that lesson, you're given a test. As you go through life, you're going to learn lessons and obstacles are going to come up. And that's the test that God has given you. The obstacles aren't in your way to stop you. They're there for you to learn. It's a part of your journey. Sometimes it may seem like you can't keep going, but God gave you enough strength to keep going because he gives his strongest battles to his strongest soldiers. I'm sorry, like we just said, Dr. Kim had to go through that, but he gave a battle to her because that's what needed to be done. Her first husband he lived his purpose. He did what he was supposed to do. And I'm a firm believer that God has assigned us all to an individual. One. We're going to meet. We're going to help a lot of people along the way, but it's one individual that he wants us to touch their lives. Dr. Kim, your husband touched your life, and you might have thought it was going in a spiral, but I'm here to let you know all of our lives are in a spiral. We are all going through it. And I'm saying this because I want others to understand that what you might think you're going through, you're not alone. You're not the first person to go through it. You won't be the last person to go through it. And at this current moment, you're not going through it by yourself. You just don't know the other individual that's going through it. Why? Because the angel that's assigned to that same individual is not the same angel that's assigned to you. You just have to wait for God to send you the angel that's supposed to help you get to the next part of your life, and you're supposed to turn around and pay it forward and use your gift to help the next person, which is what Dr. Kim is doing. Now, as we keep diving in and breaking down what she said, I want to go on to the next part of this. You got to recognize when the individual that God sends to you comes your way. Your current husband, we thank him. We thank Lionel because he's the one that came along and showed you and helped you see, because that's who he sent your way. As you said that you thought it was just what a booty call. Sometimes the things that you think you want to tell God a funny joke, tell him what you gonna do and watch him laugh. Because what you thought, that ain't what he sent him there for. And when he holds that mirror up, because I want you to understand, when you get a mirror held up in front of you and you get to look back at the reflection of who's standing in front of it, you're going to realize sometimes you don't like what you see. And you got one or two things you can do. You either can keep being the person you don't like to see, or you can become the person that God wants you to be. You can choose either one. He doesn't make you decide, but he's going to direct you in the way that he wants you to go. Either way you want it. You can either go the hard way or you can go the easy way. But either way it's going, you're going to go God way in the end of the day. So with that being said, I'm going to break down everything you just told us. Because now after you got the mirror, you realize that, hey, I got to start changing some things. And I'm here to let you know that if you don't like the way your life is going and you know it's not right, you have to change some things. And it starts with your mindset. You can't become who you want to be if you're still holding on to who you used to be. So you have to let some things go. I'm gonna say that again because I don't want that to go over nobody's head. You can't become who you know you should be if you still holding on to who you used to be. You have to let the past go. You got to let all that go because it's there for a reason. It's a past. It's behind you. There's a reason that when you look in the rearview mirror when you're driving, it's smaller than the windshield because you're supposed to be looking ahead, not looking behind. Let it go so you can become who you need to be. Now, with that also being said, Dr. Kim also told us how she had to start loving herself. You cannot get ahead in life and think somebody else is supposed to take you serious if you don't love yourself. If you don't value your own value, then how is your value going to be valuable?
Come on now.
You have to value your value in order for your value to be valuable. You have to start with loving yourself. You can't help somebody else until you help yourself. Dr. Kim told us how she became a doctor through leadership. You can't help lead others and you can't lead yourself. How can you lead others and you can't walk through the same door that you're trying to tell other people to go through? So until you can learn to love yourself, lead yourself, and know that you are enough, because remember, 400 million to 1, that's the chances of you being born. Again, you can hit the lottery 11 times just to try to be born again. Everything that you need to have to be great is already inside of you. Everything that you need to be successful is already inside of you. Let me tell you something. Success and greatness takes hard work. It takes dedication and it takes commitment. But guess what? I'm going to let you in on a secret. That's your hard work. That's your dedication. And that's your commitment. You are the secret to your own success, but you can't reach it when you're still holding on to who you used to be. Now, I could keep going, but I got one more point for you, Dr. Brown, because you said some things that made me laugh, because during my time in the military, and this right here is going to help you all understand how to find your gift so you can live in your purpose. Because most of us, we kind of like blow our gift off because we think it's normal. Your gift isn't normal. It's normal to you. It's not normal to everybody else. Let me give you an example. Have you seen other people and you're looking at them in amazement, like you're just mesmerized, like, how are they able to do that? That is amazing. Another secret. People are looking at you the exact same way. They're in amazement. They're mesmerized. They're trying to figure out how you're able to do the things you do. But the only thing is, you don't even know it's your gift because you think it's normal. Like Dr. Kim said, when she was talking, people be like, I don't know why they listen to me. During my 20-year career, it wasn't to the end, and I had a mentor. He almost slapped me silly just to try to get me to understand it, because I'd be sitting there and he was like, you don't see how every time you open your mouth, people stop talking and they listen to what you say. They not only listen, they do. And when I started recognizing it, I was coming home, and this is going to make y'all all shocked and probably make you laugh. I'm looking at my wife and kids. I'm like, you won't believe this. People listen to me. Then I turn around, why won't y'all listen to me? But no, my family listens to me. It's just a little funny joke that I have running in my house. Like, everybody else listens, y'all should listen. But no, I was the same way. People would listen, and I'm like, I don't know why they listen. I didn't think I said nothing that powerful. Why? Because I was just being normal. And I say that to say that the gift inside of you seems normal to you because you are normal. Society has made you think that you're not normal. You see things on social media, in the news, you see all the things going on in the world, and you're like, man, that's not me. I can't do that. That's because that's not normal. You're normal. Don't pay attention. I can turn on the TV and show you a movie and make you think, wow, that's amazing. But last time I checked, ain't none of us like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. You cannot fly. You cannot travel. No, you can't do all that stuff. You are normal. Don't let society tell you that you aren't, because everything that you have in you is enough. And you just need to pay attention to the clues, because people are telling you what your gift is. You're just not listening. Now, before I keep going, I just wanted to break that down, Dr. Kim, because you dropped a lot of nuggets. So I want to ask you. First, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, because, man, if you missed it, go back, and you have to go back and watch it, because Dr. Kim dropped knowledge in the beginning, and she finna keep dropping some more, because I got a question now.
Okay.
All the people that you help, because we're all about helping on this show.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you give us, because you've helped so many people, can you give us a foundation so that people can learn to start helping themselves first? Because the reason I ask that is because to come out and ask for help is one thing. To realize you need help is a totally different thing. But a lot of people have that, because everybody's not like me and you. Me and you will walk up and talk to anybody. That's us. That's who we are. Everybody's not built like that. So what can you give to help people to at least start working on themselves till they get to that point where they can reach out and know they need help from someone else?
Absolutely. Oh, I have something that I did, and it's something that I now share with everyone that I come in contact with. And anyone can do this, but one of the things that I did is when I was working with Lisa Nichols, she had a book. She wrote a book that was called No Matter What. And reading this book, she, because she's an encourager, she had some questions in this book that I took, and I start answering these questions. And I think inside the book, it was like a little exercise that you did, and you answered the questions, and you go inside of, in front of a mirror, and you answer, you read the questions out loud, the question and the answer out loud. And so what I did with this is I took those questions there were 4 questions, and they were simple 4 questions. And I took those questions, and not only did I answer them, but then I turned around and I put it in a challenge, in a sense, or a exercise, let's say that, where I did it for, first I did it for 7 days. And then after doing it for 7 days, I turned around and did it for 14 more days. And when I looked at myself after 2 weeks, I could not recognize who I was, right? I was no longer the person I was 2 weeks prior, because I began to uncover some really, really good stuff about myself, some amazing things about myself. And I didn't really think that these 4 questions would make such a big difference. But what I did is I would not allow myself to duplicate the answer that I provided to these 4 questions. And so in these 7 days, I wrote out the question and provided the answer, and for all 4 questions, and I'm gonna let you know what they are, but I wrote down an answer for each of the question every day, and I did not duplicate an answer. So let me give you the questions so that you all probably like, okay, so what are the questions? What are the questions? Here it goes. There are 4 questions, and it's what I like about myself is, what I appreciate about myself is, what I love about myself is, and what I admire about myself is. And you have to ask it in that form, and you have to answer it as well. And so what I like, appreciate, love, and admire, I call it la, but it's in any order. You can say what I appreciate about myself, what I love about myself, what I admire about myself, right? And what I like about myself. It really doesn't matter the order. I just call it la, so I can remember like, appreciate, love, and admire. And so it looks like this. Once you start, believe me. Oh, and here's the other part. You can't ask anyone for help with this. You have to go inward and answer the questions yourself. So in other words, you can't go to your husband and say, babe, what do you like about me? Or you can't go to your mom and say, Mom, what do you love about? You can't do that. You can only ask yourself. So the first part of this is you going inward, because we're so used to going outward, asking people about what they think and what they about ourselves. No, this exercise makes you go inward, and you start asking yourself. And so what I like about myself is my big pretty smile. What I appreciate about myself is that I can get along with anyone. What I love about myself is my cocoa brown skin. And what I admire about myself is my dimples, right? What I like about myself is that I can encourage anybody. I love to encourage anybody. What I appreciate about myself is that I am determined. What I love about myself is that I have integrity. And what I admire about myself is that what I admire about myself is that I admire that my level of interacting with people takes it and take them to another level. And so you begin to start answering these questions in the mirror, and like I said, you can't duplicate. And so when you're doing this exercise, you may think you're going to run out of things that are what you like, love, appreciate, and admire about yourself. But believe it or not, you will not run out. And so after the first 7 days, what I did is the following 7 days, I did the exact same thing. But I said, okay, I'm going to at least allow myself to duplicate one answer. And so if I said I like my eyes, then the following week, I can say I appreciate or admire my eyes, but that's it. You can only duplicate one answer in a 2-week process. Okay. And so really what I want you to know is that after I did that for 14 days, I did that, my self-esteem, my self-confidence, the doubt that I had about myself lived, because I start doing work on me. And really what I share with people is what you're doing is you're uncovering, you're peeling back these layers of junk that's on you, because when life happens, it covers it up. When something else happened, it covers it up. So now you're
Okay.
actually you're peeling it back, and you're starting to see yourself in a different light. But it was always there. It was dimmed down, or it was, and so when I start saying these things about myself, that's one thing. Then I started acknowledging it, right? So I was uncovering. So to walk in your greatness, to do this, you're uncovering it. So you have to literally uncover it with those 4 questions. And after you do that, you then go back and start looking at what you like, love, appreciate, and admire about yourself. And then you start acknowledging it. I started to acknowledge, wow, I have a beautiful smile. Wow, I'm determined. Wow, I am so amazing, right? I start acknowledging it. And then after I acknowledge it, I start owning it. And when you own it, it's like nobody can tell you differently. Like, convince me that I am not one bad behind woman. Convince me that. You can't, because in my ability to own it, it's like I own this arm of mine, my eye, my nose. Who can come up and take my nose? Who's going to come up and literally take my eye? Right? They can't. So I
Mhm.
own it like I own my nose, my eyes, my ears, or my head. I own that. And then once I start owning it, I start living it and walking in it. And so that's what I mean by walking in your greatness. First, you have to uncover it. Then after you uncover it, and like I said, when you uncover it, and you uncover it with those 4 questions, take those questions, go and answer those questions, go in the mirror every day for the next 7 days. No duplication of your answers. Answer those questions. No help from anyone but you. Now, I will tell you, it's going to be a little challenging, but if you commit to uncovering your greatness, I can tell you this, that when you do this for 14 days, you will not be the same person you were 14 days ago. I can guarantee you that. And if you say, well, I am, then I will say you did not uncover your greatness, right? Because it takes work. Like I said, so you're going to uncover it, then you're going to acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Then you're going to own it, and then you're going to walk in it. So that's how I did it, and I'm sharing my experience. It's not something that I saw someone else do. It's because this is what I've done. Now, when I work with young people, and just people in general, this is what I do. I am a life coach, and when they come to ask me if they can, if I can coach them, the first thing I'm going to do is give them this exercise. Why? Because I want you to begin to see who you were created to be. I want you to come in and know that you are powerful, you are amazing, you are phenomenal. I want you to know that. But not only know it, I want you to own it, because it's yours and it's unique in your own special way. And so that's how I help, and that's what I do, Billy.
Wow. I don't know about everybody else. If you're listening to this, it's time for you to implement Lala into your life. What do you love? Let's do it this way, because I'm all about transparency. That's how I believe. That's part of how I teach people to find their gifts, live in their purpose, achieve their greatness. I do it through transparency.
Yeah.
So I'll do Lala for everybody. What I love about myself,
Come on.
I love my ability to be loyal, even when the situation doesn't call for loyalty. I can't change who I am. I love that I'm loyal. What I admire about myself, I admire the obstacles and tribulations, all the things that I've been through that I was able to get to, and I'm on the other side. I admire that because at the time when it was happening, I didn't think I had the strength to go through it. I admire that I've overcome so much. What I like about myself, I like that I'm learning to have control. I grew up and I didn't have control all the time, but I like that I'm gaining control of myself, not letting my emotions and feelings have control over me.
Yes.
What I appreciate my ability to see things with open eyes, no blinders. Look at things from different situations, because it allows me to not be judgmental, because I can easily be in a situation that I'm judging. So I appreciate being able to see things with open eyes. Lala, what I love about myself, what I admire about myself, what I like about myself, and what I appreciate about myself. I want everybody to start taking Dr. Grimes' advice and using Lala on yourself, because as you heard her say, it allows you to start peeling back. And I'm here to tell you, as you peel back those layers that are covering up because believe it or not, those layers are covering your gift. That gift that you have inside of you that you're trying to share with the world and live with purpose, the gift of somebody saying, I need your help. But over the years, you're not smart. You're not good enough. You should not be here. I don't like your skin color. You're not pretty. You're ugly. It's just piling layers on, and it's hiding your gift from yourself. And it's time to peel those layers back and let your gift out, because believe it or not, when you pile something on enough, it turns to darkness. I can take a light right now, and if I put enough blankets on top of it, you won't see that light. It'll turn to darkness. And right now, your light is not able to be shined because it's covered in darkness, and I need you to start peeling back those layers, because it's time to let your light shine. Don't dim your light, not another day, not another moment, not another second for another individual, especially from stuff from your past. That stuff is keeping your life dim, and it's time to let your light free so you can shine using your gifts to live in your purpose, knowing who you are. Man, you are dropping it on us today, Dr. Graham. You don't believe it, but I can't speak for everybody. I know you helping me, and I'm pretty sure I know for a fact that you helping somebody else out there. And the reason I say for a fact, because remember, I like control about myself. And that control is because I look at things with facts over feelings. Your feelings will hijack your emotions, and your emotions will hijack your control, and your control will hijack your life to the point where you're not even living your life, you're living somebody else's life. And sometimes it's going to take you looking in the mirror. People didn't pay attention when Michael Jackson said, I'm worried about the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. It might be time for you to look in the mirror, because it might be time for you to change your ways, because it's stopping you from living in your purpose and being who you're supposed to be. Now, with that being said, I got to keep going. I got to keep going, because it's something else that
I got something else too for you.
I was about to ask a question, but I don't want to ask. I want you to give it to us.
So let me add on top of this. So on top, just giving them even more to do. So here's something that we do as well. Now, in the midst of all of, you're uncovering your greatness, what's going to happen is you're also going to have head chatter. And your head chatter is going to begin to tell you who you're not, that you're not worthy. So you have to, in the midst of that, be able to manage that head chatter, right? And stop that head chatter when it shows up, because this work is, again, it's going to empower you. And one of the things that the enemy doesn't want us to do is to really know who we really are, because if so, watch out, right? So you also have to manage that head chatter. Watch out for that head chatter. And so one of the things that you said facts over feelings. And so when your head chatter starts, if you get head chatter and it tells you about yourself, you have to go with the facts. The fact says that things are true. So if the head chatter says you're nothing and you'll never be nothing, right? Is that facts? What facts do you have to back that up?
Exactly.
It doesn't exist. Exactly. And so you have to know about the facts, and the facts, you're going to start uncovering the facts when you go through Lala. So I just wanted to share that, because head chatter is a part of you managing your emotions and uncovering your greatness. It is going to show up, and it's going to try to tell you who you're not. But here's the thing about head chatter: when you acknowledge that it exists, that's the what is the word I want to say? The battle is halfway over. When you acknowledge that you have head chatter and you recognize, whoa, wait a minute. What? No, I'm not going for that. And so you stop the head chatter right in this track. Then that's half the battle. So I just wanted to tag that on, or piggyback on what it was that I shared with Lala, because that's going to happen as well.
I don't know if y'all catching this, but y'all in for a treat, because y'all are getting I don't even want to use the word attack, but you're getting it thrown at you. Because just like Dr. Grimes, if you haven't figured this out about me now by all the other episodes, I'm also a coach. If you haven't figured this out, I don't know what you've been watching. So know you got two coaches throwing it at you. So we can do this back and forth all day long. That head chatter, you have to acknowledge it, as Dr. Grimes says. And I'm going to add another layer on that. You have to name it. You have to be able to call out who you talking to. I'll give you, because transparency, I got one. I got one of mine. I refer to them as the inner critic, because they don't do nothing positive. It's like a movie critic. Normally, movie critics don't never say anything good about the movie. They just tell you the bad. So your inner critic is never pushing you for greatness. It's trying to hold you back. It's giving you all the negative. So I got one. I call him Bashful Bill. Bashful Bill likes to be quiet. Everybody that knows me truly knows I like to talk. So obviously that's a negative, because I don't want to be quiet. Bashful Bill lets me see situations. I know what should be done. I know the good solution, but I'll say, no, don't say nothing. Let them go through it. That's not how your gift works. My gift is to help people. Bashful Bill likes to keep me silent. Let them go through it. Let them see for themselves. And I've been guilty of this on many ways. And I'm saying this because let's go to the parents for a second, because I'm finna talk parent talk. I'm saying this for a second because we've said it, and I'm trying to break generational curses in my life as well. We hear so many times, oh, the kid think they know so much. Let them go through it and find out the hard way. No. If you know your kid is going in a direction, it ain't no let them find out the hard way. Don't have a Bashful Bill in you. You need to speak up. You need to work and it hit me again. You need to work and talk to that kid, talk to that person. And when I say talk to him, it doesn't have to necessarily be a kid. It can be an adult. Stop trying to bring people up to your level for the conversation.
Oh,
yeah. You're at a point in your life when you're trying to help somebody. And last time I checked, when you're helping somebody, normally they're not in the same place or the mindset that you are. You need to go down and meet them at their level, because that's the best way that they can understand. And I'll give you an example of that. When you were 8 years old, you were like, you thought you knew it all. But then you turned 13. When you turn 13 and you look back and you're like, did you know more than that 8-year-old? Of course you did. You're 13 now. Then you turn 18. As an 18-year-old, you definitely knew more than a 13-year-old. Then you're 20, 25. Then you look up and you're like, man, I'm 30, 40 years old. I know way more than the 8-year-old, the 13-year-old, the 18. It's levels to it. Because you peel back the layers as you go up in levels. So when you at a certain level in life, it can be a kid and somebody else. Don't talk down to them. Go and meet them at their level and help elevate them to where they need to be. That's what you need to do. So that's part of that inner critic, because you're trying to pull them to their level because you're judging them. I don't know what your inner critic may be. It may be Judgy Judy. It may be anything you want, but you have to name that inner critic that's in your mind, that's giving you that negativity, telling you what you can't do and what you shouldn't do, so that you can call them out when you're doing it. That moment when you're feeling lazy, if you don't name them Lazy Larry, so you know, hold on, Lazy Larry, I'm not finna sit here and do nothing. I have a gift and a purpose that I must do, and I cannot sit here and be lazy, because now is not the time. You have to name that inner critic so you can quiet that chatter that's in your head, because if you don't, you're just going to hear it and you're not going to know what to do about it. Name it so you can move on. Dr. Grimes, you're giving all these nuggets around here today. I do this to everybody. Because I don't want this moment to be missed. Before we get out of here, I need to know, and I don't care what it could be. It could be work. It can be life. It can be personal. Can you drop something, you drop so many. Can you give us another jewel, another nugget that we can use to help us achieve our greatness?
Ooh, yes. So not only help you achieve your greatness, but also set you apart in your greatness. We already know that we're unique. We already know that we were created, knitted in our mama's womb, and there's not two of us, right? In other words, even twins, identical twins, have different DNAs, have different fingerprints, right? And so one of the things that is huge for me as well, and this is a word that we don't tend to talk about as much, And so I want to put it out there, and here's the word. It's called integrity. And so the nugget that I want to drop is for you to ask yourself, in all that you're uncovering and all that you're doing, make sure you're walking in integrity as well. And so what do I mean by integrity? I usually, to make it easier for our teens, I say to them, do what's right when no one's looking. Right? Do what's right when no one's looking. Or there's a part of us that we realize that we ought to, right? And we ought to do, right? And then some of us say, well, I don't have to do it, right? So, but integrity is when you talk about relationships, when you talk about things, that integrity is an anchor in a relationship. And so if a relationship goes south, let's talk about where's the integrity, right? And something as simple as this: when you show up late for an appointment or for work, you are out of integrity. And so you may not think, what? Yes, because here's the thing: when you got the job, when you said yes, they gave you the offer, you said yes, they said okay, our day starts at 8 o'clock and it ends at 5. And so that means you're supposed to be there by 8 o'clock and you leave at 5. But if you get there after 8, that means you're out of integrity of the agreement that you put in place. So with your spouse, or in a relationship, the thing that I want to share is that integrity is huge, but we tend to cover it up. We tend to not want to have a conversation around it. But I want to also say to you that when you're out of integrity, you know when you're out of integrity. And so if you want to mend the relationship, if you want to find a solution or a resolution to a disagreement, find out, own your role, right? And acknowledge when you're out of integrity. So I want to give you 4 steps to restore your integrity. 1, acknowledge that you're out of integrity. Oh, I'm out of integrity. I'm so sorry. I was wrong when I called you out of your name. I called you dumb, and I should not have called you dumb. 2, take full responsibility. I take full responsibility for calling you dumb. I know I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have called you dumb. And I'm being mild by saying dumb because there are some harsh words and things that are said. Yeah. But I just want to use that to keep it simple. I should not have called you dumb. I take full responsibility for that. The third thing is ask for forgiveness. And I'm making a point here to say forgiveness because anybody can say that I'm sorry. And anybody, it's easy to say that I apologize. So with that, say, please forgive me for calling you dumb. Like I said, I should not have done that, right? I should not have done that. And here's the one part that everyone missed. So you're probably familiar with the first 3 steps because it's like acknowledging it, it's taking full responsibility, and it's asking for forgiveness. But here's one thing that we miss. We always miss, what are we committed to doing differently? What are you committed to doing differently? That makes a difference. So I'm committed to not only calling, I will not call you dumb again. And even when the thought comes into my head, I will recognize that that's the thought. I will pause and I will not even speak until I have a better thought, or better yet, find a better word to call you. I will keep silent. This is what I'm committed to doing instead of calling you names. And so when you do those 4 steps, that's how you restore your integrity. Integrity will set you apart in this world, in whatever it is that you do. When you're uncovering your greatness, and when you're achieving your goals, when you want to make a difference in anyone's life, teach them integrity. Teach them those 4 steps in how to restore their integrity.
That is powerful, because integrity is one of my life mottos. It might be the Air Force because that's one of our core values, and it just kept transitioning after I came out of the Air Force. Integrity. Do what's right, even when nobody else is looking. And the reason that's so huge and so cool, you dropped the nugget on that one. The reason that one is so big is because think about it. Everybody's integrity is different. I want y'all to understand that. You're operating in your integrity. You know your mindset. You know your beliefs. Like we know the regular ones, like don't kill, like don't steal. Like we know the integrity ones. But based on your beliefs, your factors, you know the things that you should be doing that's right at all times, even when nobody's looking. Don't who I call it as well. You're getting thrown again, another coaching moment. You basically you name the four, and they all round up into my one, which I refer to as accountability. You have to be accountable for your actions from beginning to the end. You have to recognize when you've done wrong. You have to acknowledge that you've done wrong. If you have to apologize to somebody, then acknowledge it and go apologize. And then you have to acknowledge that you need to change your mindset and the way you move through life so you don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Because how? That helps strengthen your integrity. So when you put that integrity and that accountability together, when you start moving in that way, and you're going to be so shocked when I tell you this, when you start moving with integrity and accountability without even knowing it, your gifts going to start to shine regardless, because you're going to be doing what you know you're supposed to do. And as your gift starts to shine, people will gravitate to you. I'm sorry, when it's light, think about it. When it's gloomy outside, dark outside, people disappear, they hide. When the sunlight comes out, they outside playing, they at the beach, swimming pool. When you start peeling back and walking in your integrity with accountability, your light will start to shine and people will gravitate to you, and you'll be able to use your gift to help others. And now you're living in your purpose. Yeah. I'm not finna go no deeper because I get to dive in this thing any deeper. Dr. Grimes, before we go, can you please tell, because you got so many nuggets in you. I don't want anybody to miss the chance to be able to connect with you. Me and you already connected. We connected for life. You don't even know it. How can others connect with you?
Absolutely. So they can absolutely always go to my website, which is KimRGrimes.com. That's one way that they can definitely connect with me. And then also be on the lookout, like on all of, well, let me just say this, on all the social media platforms, look for Kim R. Grimes. I did that intentionally because some of the social medias, they want you to name something different, I just stuck with I didn't even put doctor. It's just Kim R. Grimes, and you will definitely find me there as well. And one thing I do want to share is that be on the lookout for me. I'm going to have a podcast. It's going to be released March. The date actually changed, March 3rd. And the name of the podcast is You Are You, Unapologetically. And there we're going, just like here, Billy, we're going to talk about how can you be you, right? Unapologetically, being your own true self and finding your true identity. But definitely KimRGrimes.com and Kim R. Grimes on all of the social media platforms is a way where you can find me.
Wow. I look forward to the podcast. That is going to be amazing. You Are You, Unapologetically. And everybody, please continue. You have any questions, need help, you can reach out to me, but also reach out to Dr. Kim Grimes. As she said, Kim R. Grimes on all platforms. Dr. Kim, we appreciate you again. Tell your husband thank you we know he stole you away. Tell him thank you as well. Thank you for coming on the show. We definitely look forward to having you back, but we appreciate you for coming on. Now, don't go anywhere. Stay with me after the show, because after this, I want to talk to you right quick. So don't go anywhere. But until then, thank you, and I'll see you on the other side. Man, did you catch all those nuggets? That was a powerhouse. Dr. Kim Grimes is a powerhouse. Please continue to connect with her. I know for myself, I'm finna start using the La method. I have to, because you're never done. You got to always be better. Your whole mission in life is to win. Be better than you were yesterday, the day before yesterday. You have to keep going, because Les Brown said it best. It's not over until you win, and you have to keep winning every single day. That La method, mind blowing. Please connect with her. You heard her, Kim R. Grimes on all social media platforms. I want you to keep using her. Reach out to me, because I want you to win. I want you to win tomorrow. The next week, I want you to win. Next month, I want you to win. Next week, next year, next month, today, every day, I want you to win. Because when you're winning, that means you're using your gift to live in your purpose. And that's what I want for you. So thank you again for tuning in. I look forward to seeing everybody next week. I can't wait for our next guest next week. Gonna be amazing. But again, same time next week, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But until then, I want you to keep living in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose. I'll see you next week.
Hi, my name is Billy Graham Jr.
Growing up, everybody thought I was going to be an actor. They're like, you're funny, you should go be an actor. I was like, I can't be an actor, can't you see? What is my purpose? If you're like me, I lost my purpose. I didn't know who I was. I let society put me in a box. I don't want you to be in the box anymore. Because you and you only are the one carbon copy. There is no other you. So how can you be in a box if it's only one you? So you need to steal your power back. Because we gave it to somebody. I want you to say, steal your power back. Steal your power back.
Mr. Graham said, I am an original, I'm not a photocopy.
You are where it begins. It begins with you and only you. You are the director. You are the author of this book. Nobody should be writing your life story. You are the winner. See, a lot of us, we get caught up in wondering when we're supposed to do something, why we're supposed to do something, where we're supposed to begin. But I'm telling you, you are the author of your book, and that's all that matters.
My time here in Kenya has been amazing. Everybody has welcomed us with open arms ever since we landed. Nothing but hospitality, nothing but family. We felt like we were home.